This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Government considers easing import duties on some chicken parts. The government is considering easing import duties on some chicken parts to provide Jamaicans with a cheaper source of protein as poultry prices soar. Agriculture Minister Pernell Charles Jr. has also announced a $50 million allocation to help small poultry producers. Speaking during Tuesday's sitting of the House of Representatives, Mr. Charles said the easing of import duties could take about 2 months.
Currently, the price of leg quarters within the local market is at $360 per pound, Minister Tufton, while we would be able to import leg quarters at $100 per pound and have consumers paying roughly $160 per pound. This would allow Jamaican consumers to purchase at least 3 times the quantity of poultry meat that they are currently able to afford. Chicken meat is one of the most versatile and affordable proteins, especially for the most vulnerable in our society. And therefore, any increase in the prices paid for the inputs that go into the productive process will invariably be passed on to consumers. That means every Jamaican household is impacted. This situation is further compounded, Madam Speaker, by the fact that there has been a decrease in the import of chicken back, a critical source of affordable protein, especially for the persons who have limited disposable income. And this shortage of supply has resulted in the price for chicken back now competing with the whole chicken.
However, opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson urged a caution in the removal of the duties on chicken parts.
While I acknowledge the extent of the problem, I want to urge some caution on the proposal about suspension of the CET and the stamp duties. And caution, one, because removing it, and I know you said temporarily, could lead to the dumping of these items here in Jamaica and adversely affect the local industry. Secondly, I don't know what process you would put in place to ensure that the importer passes on the benefit to the end user.
Great River mourns a 52-year-old woman shot dead, son injured in attack on family restaurant. Residents of Great River who gathered at the scene of 52-year-old Rose Christian's killing on Tuesday struggled to understand why their community was once again being ripped apart by tragedy. As they huddled together beyond the yellow crime scene tape, they spoke in bewildered tones of the attack on the family's shop that has left Rose's son, 36-year-old Kenika Christian, in hospital. Her husband, who was in the back of the building, was unharmed. There are unconfirmed reports that the attack was a robbery gone wrong. According to preliminary reports, the 3 family members were at their Triple Palms restaurant where they all worked when the incident took place. Rose and her son were in the section where food is served while her husband was cutting up vegetables in the back. A reported eyewitness said about 2 p.m., 2 men arrived at the roadside eatery in a silver Axio motor car. The 2 guys go in at the shop go buy a cigarette, and then them run out back. Then me hear how much gunshot, about 6 or 7 gunshot fire. When them run towards the car, a 2 gun me see them have in a them hand, said the eyewitness who chose not to give a name. The family matriarch was hit in the head and died on the spot. Her death brings back unwelcomed memories of the last woman murdered in the community. Nicola Clark was set ablaze by a jealous lover last May and died 3 months later while undergoing treatment in the United States. We are going through a lot of things. We're traumatized right now because we don't know who next. So we just have to look and wonder what's going on. Recently we lost a lady who burned up. Then we lose 2 shops around there last week. So to be truthful, I don't even know what to say, said an obvious upset man who also asked not to be named. The pastor for the church that the Christian family attended, Reverend Glendon Powell of the Unity Hall Open Bible Church, was on the scene and provided a brief session of grief counseling for family and community members. Today is a very, very sad day in the history of this particular community. This community is a community that we don't know about this kind of activity happening in, he remarked. Those killed, he said, were good people. The people that operate that business is a couple that has been around for many, many years, and the point is that these are Christian people. Their surname is Christian, and by nature they are good Christian people as far as I am concerned. These are people who have given their service and their life to community service. It is a very sad day in our history, he bemoaned. Omicron COVID-19 variant now dominant in Jamaica. The Omicron variant is now the dominant strain of COVID-19 in Jamaica. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure while speaking in the House of Representatives on Tuesday afternoon. He said 93% of samples taken from December 21 to 24 were confirmed positive for the Omicron variant. The 43 samples were tested locally. Mr. Holness told the House that the current COVID-19 containment measures are being extended for 2 weeks until February 10, given the continued high number of daily infections.
So of the 43 samples sequenced, Madam Speaker, 40 or 93% were confirmed to be the Omicron variant. So it is clear that that is the dominant strain now in Jamaica. We will continue, as we have declared here, until the 10th of February. We'll watch up until that point, maintaining these measures. And then we will, at that point, make a determination. It could be that we keep the current measures in place, or we may loosen them a little bit. Let's see how those graphs evolve. But let it be clear, the Jamaican society, the Jamaican economy, and the Jamaican people must start to cast their eyes forward out of the pandemic. While our daily case count remains very high, there are indications that it may be starting to come down. The average number of confirmed cases for the last 7 days was 921 per day. For the immediate preceding 7 days, it was 1,402 per day. So, Madam Speaker, we have seen a decline of 34%. And you're beginning to see from the graph displayed the downturn in new cases, both daily and the 7-day average. The government, in managing our strategies here, we have been very careful and very strategic, planning well in advance. So, Madam Speaker, there was no need for us to examine new measures. Having looked at what was happening in other countries, looked at our own capacities, which we had.
OUR again orders JPS to stop cutting power to communities. The Office of Utilities Regulation has issued a further directive to the Jamaica Public Service Company Limited to cease and desist curtailment of service to communities where it has implemented its Transformer Protection Program pilot project. The JPS is still prohibited from taking similar actions in other communities. The latest directive took effect on January 18 and will expire within 180 days. A new release from the utilities regulator on Tuesday afternoon said the directive follows the expiration of the original 90-day cease and desist order on January 13. The order was issued to allow the OUR to conduct an investigation into the Transformer Protection Program pilot project and publish its findings. The OUR says it has not completed its investigations as the JPS is yet to comply with a request for data and other information required for the regulator's examination of the issues. The OUR's decision to issue a cease and desist order on October 15 followed consumer complaints about prolonged power outages in several communities. Some of the outages occurred daily. Opposition leader calls for Chang to be stripped of security portfolio. Opposition leader and the People's National Party President Mark Golding has called for Prime Minister Andrew Holness to relieve Minister of National Security Dr. Horace Chang of his portfolio responsibilities. Mr. Golding says that Dr. Chang's tenure has been an abject failure. Addressing a media briefing on Tuesday morning, Mr. Golding said the 15.5% increase in murders in Jamaica since the start of the year is frightening, and that there's need to be accountability for poor performance. Mr. Golding has also given Police Major General Anthony Anderson an ultimatum to get crime under control in the next 60 days or resign.
Commissioner of Police Anthony Anderson is also hereby being put on warning. He is the main architect and promoter of the government's state of emergency strategy as an ongoing policing tool. No other commissioner of police before him has followed that unprecedented and what we regard as a dangerous path. As I have already shown, there are other tools in the toolbox for him to use, and some others that the government needs to quickly deal with and address to provide him with, which should have been legislated for already. If the commissioner cannot find another strategic approach to getting the crime problem under control within the next 60 days, I think he must call it a day as well.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.